Morning, good morning, Bix Weir, road2road.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of tea. I'm trying to wean myself from coffee. All right, I'm pissed off, beyond pissed off at my good friend Dick Allgaier. Beyond pissed off at you, Dick. What are you thinking? Dick Allgaier seems to have forgotten every rule that we've been screaming about in the cryptocurrencies for 5 years, 6 years. Screaming. If you don't have your keys, you don't own your cryptos. If you don't possess your private key, 2 days ago, one day ago, 1 day and 9 hours ago was the proof of keys day. Meaning you're supposed to look at your private key and say, oh, I have control of my cryptocurrency. Every single little bit of crypto. Listen to what Dick posted yesterday, January 2nd. Wait, today's the 4th? January 2nd, he posted this.
Well, I don't want to say lost. Maybe the headline is the wrong word. I've misplaced some Bitcoin. Enough that I'm sick to my stomach, and if I don't get this back, I'm going to cry. It's enough. I'm not going to trash the blockchain wallet. Let's put their website up. Blockchain wallet.
No, you should not trash blockchain wallet. You should trash yourself. How many times do we scream it from the top of the roof? Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Dick, you're killing me. So Dick had a whole bunch of Bitcoin on a mobile wallet device that you don't have your keys. A third party controlled his cryptos. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. I hope he gets it back. You know, the odds are low. If blockchain.com can somehow hack into their own system, he didn't write down his seed phrase. He didn't even think they had a seed phrase. Oh my God, how many red flags went off on this one? Dick, we're going to have to, I'm coming to Hawaii again at the end of March. We're going to have a little sit down. I'll train you how to store your cryptos. Not your keys, not your crypto. I hope he gets his Bitcoin back, but we all have to learn the lesson sometime. If you can't tell me what your private key is right now, you don't own your crypto and you don't have any control over your crypto. What Dick did was switch phones and thought that he would go into the cloud and come out of the cloud and all this stuff. Dick. Anyway, moving on from that depressing note. Yes, a day ago was proof of keys. Everybody on the road to Rudo, I thought, had learned a lesson. Get your keys in your own possession. You have to have your cryptos in your own possession. Apparently, Dick did not. I don't think anybody else on the road to Rudo, all 100,000 of you, made that mistake. I hope not. Proof of keys. Proof of keys. If you can't tell me your private key, you don't own your crypto. And it will be gone one way or the other. Here's the other thing I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a ton of stuff. Actually, I'm going to do a live stream today. I don't know what time. Probably 11 o'clock Pacific time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern time. Because it's the new year and there's a lot to talk about. But let's talk about this. Helicopter money is here. How the Fed monetized billions in debt sold just days earlier. The Fed is monetizing debt. Basically, the Fed is creating it and buying it themselves, pretending the market is real. This is just one tiny thing that they do. I've talked about it for the last couple of days. The contortions that the Fed and the Treasury are doing to make this system stay afloat. It's amazing. It's really phenomenal. I can't wait to see Zoltan Pozar's next post about how the Fed got by his D-Day of December 31st. It's very simple. They cooked their books. They pretended that $1.5 trillion in $100 bills was in the cash accounts of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and friends. They pretended because you can't verify something like that. But that's the funny thing. It's all a fraud. And I'll show you that in a second. But first, let's talk about what the Fed is doing right here. The Fed's charter prohibits it from directly purchasing bonds or bills issued by the U.S. Treasury. That process is known as monetization, and various Fed chairs have repeatedly testified under oath to Congress that the Fed does not do it. Of course, the alternative is what is known as helicopter money, when the central bank directly purchases bonds issued by the Treasury and forms the backbone of the MMT, modern monetary theory, which is, fire hose money, monetary cult. That's the Bernie Sanders of the world. But what if there is a several day interval between Treasury issuance and subsequent bond purchases? Well, that's perfectly legal. And it's something the Fed has done not only during QE1, QE2, QE3, but it's continuing to do it now as part of QE4, not QE4. Here's how. On December 16th, the U.S. Treasury sold $36 billion in T-bills with a 182-day term, maturing on June 18th, 2020, with CUSIPSV2. And as shown in the Treasury snapshot below, the total $34.3 billion in competitive purchases, dealers acquired 23.7. So they called up the dealers. Who are the dealers? JP Morgan, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Say, hey, you guys are going to buy this, and then we're going to buy it back from you. What happened next? For the answer, we go to the Fed's POMO page, which shows which specific T-bill cusps were purchased by its market desk on any given POMO day when dealers sell up to $7.5 billion in bills to the Fed. Exhibit 1. On December 19th, just 3 days after the above T-bill was issued on the very day the issue settled, dealers flipped the same bills they bought from the Treasury back to the Fed for an unknown markup. Basically, not only are the dealers buying and then selling right back, which is completely, talk about a technicality squirting around the rule. The spirit of the law was that the Fed was not going to do this. They're not going to buy treasuries from themselves. But in this way, they skirt the law because they give it to the bank. 3 days later, it settles, and then they buy it right back and give the bank some money. The Fed is creating money to give to these criminal banks. It is insane. It is insane. I'm on the side of the MMT people, the people who say, let's just give money to everybody for everything. Why not? It is the endgame. They're doing it anyway. And there it is. Busted. Boom. But wait, there's more. During the next POMO, conducted the very next day on December 20th, and just 4 days after the issuance of T-bill SV2, which, as a reminder, saw $23.7 billion in dealer purchases, those same dealers flip more of the same bills. Basically, they're doing the same thing. Flip it, flip it, flip it. Overnight money, baby. Overnight money. It is insane. So you look at stuff like this. The Solari reports missing money. Catherine Austin Fitts nails it. Absolutely 100%. I don't subscribe to many other newsletters. I do the Solari report. Awesome report. Unbelievable. Catherine Austin Fitts is the bomb. She quotes Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution. No money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law. And a regular statement and account of receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution. $21 trillion is missing from the government. That is $65,000 per person, as much as the national debt. I'm here to tell you, I'm going to show you how I know this. That's nothing compared to what they're really doing. It's not 21 trillion. It's been infinity money since at least 1981. 1981. I'll show you the proof in a second. What's going on? Where's the money? How could this happen? How much has really gone missing? Check out the Solari report. Yes, it's been proven that 21 trillion, actually it's 30 trillion, they keep counting, from the government's own reports. And I'm going to play this video, which I saw her at her site. I'm like, this is an awesome song. Music and exposing conspiracies go hand in hand on the road to Ruta. Check this one out. This is at missingmoney.solari.com.
Set of politicians doling out money by veil of secrecy. Decisions about where we invest will be made public.
Thank you. May God bless the United States.
Now, FASB 56 is what they had to pass after Catherine found all this stuff, and Skidmore, her professor guy, after they found it and questioned the government had to pass FASB 56, which says they can do anything they want and not report it.
There is $21 trillion floating in the air, and it seems that the government just doesn't care. There is $21 trillion floating in the air, 21 trillion transactions, which is just not fair. Trust us, they say. Oh, in what way? When there's 21 times a trillion floating in the air. Oh, it's okay. Trust us, we say. I don't think we can do it that way. There is $21 trillion floating in the air.
Just awesome ukulele, so cool. I'm gonna learn that and play it at the on the Freedom Roadshow this summer. There's $21 trillion. Oh my God! But that's not all there is. We know that's not all there is. That's all we found. That's all they've actually reported. And I go back to the 1981 Road to Ruta comic book, Wishes and Rainbows. We all know that comic book, right? If you're on the Road to Ruta, you know what the Road to Ruta means. Wishes and Rainbows is the comic book the Fed put out in 1981. Ruta writes in the sand. This is like the only part of the comic that they changed. They changed it from this, Ruta writing an economic formula on asset allocation, to this in 1987, 11 plus 9 or 9/11, which I've talked about many times. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to roadtoruta.com. Watch the first 2 videos on the front page of the public road. But this formula right here is a formula called On the Road to the Golden Age. 1960s formula. It didn't win a Nobel Prize. It was too secretive. But the guy who invented it, this guy right here, Bertil Nasland, ended up on the board of the Nobel board, who determines the Nobel Prize. That's how important this thing was. And what it said is, if you want to get back to a gold standard, because we were pretty much off the gold standard since 1913. They can say we had one, but we didn't. Since the creation of the Fed, since they found that massive amounts of gold in the Grand Canyon, millions of tons of gold in the Grand Canyon, we went off the gold standard. But this guy in the 1960s wrote this On the Road to the Golden Age, which said, it was an economic formula, said you want to go back to a gold standard, it's something very easy to do. All you have to do is print money to infinity. Right here. In summary, to find the pattern leading to the golden age, it is necessary to introduce a principle for the division of consumption between generations. The golden rule result gives the fraction of GNP that each generation saves on behalf of future generations. But since this fraction is constant, previous generations have made an identical sacrifice on behalf of the present one. In a similar fashion, it is postulated here that every generation chooses its proportion of GNP which it wishes to save while requiring previous generations to save in exactly the same way. This means that although varied generations would like to increase its consumption, it does not wish earlier generations to do so, since that would leave less total GNP in the present. The part of GNP to be invested is assumed to be certain, to be determined function of time. The production function is taken to be Cobb-Douglas with constant returns to scale. And here we get to the end part. And this is a huge economic formula with all these mathematical formulas. The optimal growth path is determined under various assumptions about labor supply. It is shown that the golden age results are obtained as time approaches infinity. What is Ruta writing in the sand? The exact formula that Nasland was talking about. Produce money to infinity and just don't tell anybody. That'll get you back to a gold standard right away. Voila. Then in 2007, Ruta said, hell no, we're done with this. I'm going to implode the system on 9/11/2008, which is exactly what Ruta did. 9/11/2008 is when they pulled $500 billion out of the money market funds. Representative Kanjorski told the world a couple days later, We had to do something. They were pulling money out on 9/11. He didn't say 9/11. He said on Thursday of last week, which was 9/11. Yes, this is all run out of the Fed, Boston, out of the people behind the scenes who control the computers and the derivative. So this fact that they are printing money to infinity as to get back to the gold standard started in the late 1960s. And what was happening in the late 1960s? Alan Greenspan was inventing the computer models to create electronic money. Screwed up the Y2K problem, him and other people, but he was the main guy. That's why Reagan put him as the head of the Federal Reserve System. Crazy stuff, I know, but that's exactly what's going on. So when Catherine Austin Fitts says there's missing money, of course there's missing 21 trillion. There's missing 21 quadrillion because it's infinity money. And now China knows about it, and Russia knows about it, and every country in the world knows about it, and they're doing the same thing. This is the end game. So when Zero Hedge posts this and says, oh my God, we've got 34 billion that was directly purchased by the Fed after they created it, that's nothing. That's for the plebes to consume. The reality is 21 trillion missing. But the real reality is we've been in infinity money since 1981. Creating money since what was going on in 81? We had massive inflation, remember? Gold going up to $800, silver to $50. Gold's now double that, and silver is 1/3 of that. What are you going to invest in? Silver. Anyway, we're going to talk a lot more. There's a lot to talk about. Go to the top of the road to Ruhr. There's a few things I want you to look at. One is the economist word jumble. I've got some great responses. There's a whole bunch in here. Try to find the words that, there's the obvious ones, Trump, Brexit, blah, blah, blah. It's the ones that go up, down, and sideways that I want. And there's some great ones down below. So as long as the letters are touching, you can create a word. And then as they link up, like here on the bottom, it says war, Russia, USA. That's scary. It probably has Iran in there. IRAN. I don't see an N. It might be somewhere else because that might be starting real soon anyway. That wouldn't be very long, by the way. If you're worried about war with Iran, there are so many secret weapons that the United States has on the ground and in space. It's ridiculous. I mean, we made a general evaporate. Literally, we could target anybody. So we can take out George Soros if we want. And I think we should for George Soros. But anyway, at 11 o'clock, I'll be doing a live chat today. 11 o'clock Pacific time. Also, the Raw Food Reboots starts Sunday night. So tomorrow night at midnight, we're going live on the Raw Food Reboot. Amy's all jazzed for it. There's like 300 people who are doing it now. If you feel like it's time to get your shit in order to be ready for the 2020 fight against these criminals, here's a great way to do it. Reboot your system. 21 days, and all you got to do is eat the things that they grow in nature. It's not that hard, but you're going to feel amazing after it. Anyway, go to Raw 21 Reboot, or go to the top of the Road to Ruta section right here. It's the second thing right here, the Raw Food Reboot. Click on Amy's website, and then go send her an email. Contact Amy and say, I want in, because she'll send you updates on how things are going. You can join the chat room. You can watch the chats. And it's fun. And you feel so much better. And get your friends and family to do it. And you're gonna be amazed. Not only in the weight loss. It's not a weight loss thing, because you can eat or drink as much as you want as long as it's raw food. Imagine that, eating food. But it can't be cooked. No caffeine, no booze. No caffeine, no booze. And Ben, no smoking. We got to get your voice back, because that's your most important asset. Absolutely. That cough you got, it's going to get worse. No more smoking for Ben. Raise your hand if you think Ben should stop smoking. All right. There's enough of us that care about Ben. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in live chat. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Later.